is the only known place on Earth where trees have square trunks? I suspect that most people here in the audience don't know the answer to this question. Let me do a little survey. Raise your hand if you're at least somewhat curious about the answer to this question. Wow, quite a few people. So let's analyze your thoughts for a little bit. Yes, I'm a psychologist. What was going on in your mind when you were thinking about the potential answer? You may have thought about several beautiful parks you visited here in California or in a foreign country. Did you see any trees there that had square trunks? Probably not. But what I'm actually interested in is, how does it feel to be curious about the answer to this question? Take a moment to look inward. How does it feel when searching for the possible answer? It might really bug you that you don't know the answer now. It's this little gap in your knowledge, and you have this urge to fill it. It's a little bit like an itch that you really need to scratch. It could also create a positive feeling. It excites you, and it's fun to think and to figure out what the answer might be. Maybe you itch to rip your phone out of your pocket right now to look up the answer. Maybe some of you have already. Whatever the precise feeling is that this question triggers in you, if this question really sparks your curiosity, it energizes you to go out and seek more information about it. If you think of it, curiosity is an important factor in our lives all the time. Let's take a look at education. If we are bored in a specific class in school, we all know learning is very difficult. But if a teacher inspires a student's curiosity, learning is so much easier. Why is that? Current research, however, does indeed suggest that it's not only intelligence that predicts academic achievement, it's also our intellectual curiosity that predicts success in school. As you can see on the right, the more curious somebody was to see the answer to a question, the more their brain activity ramped up in both areas. Importantly, recent studies suggest that these areas are involved when we anticipate rewards, like money or food. So think of just picking up your paycheck or seeing a waiter carrying your dessert. What do these findings mean? Curiosity actually recruits the very same brain areas that are involved in tangible, extrinsic reward. In other words, a state of curiosity is a state in which you crave and anticipate a cognitive reward, the information you're curious about. My professor back then claimed that motivation per se does not influence how well we learn information. It only helps us to sit down on our bottoms and to study. But is that really true? Or does simply being curious actually benefit learning? To test what a curious state does to learning, we added a little tweak to our experiment. In the learning phase, when participants were waiting to see the answer to a question, we showed them a random picture of a neutral face. Later on, during the memory test, we also tested their memory for these unrelated faces. As expected, when people were highly curious to find out an answer to a question, they were better at recalling the answer to that question. However, the surprising finding was to us that also the faces, once curiosity was aroused, the faces were also better remembered, that were completely unrelated to the trivia. Again, even the information that was unrelated to what people were curious about was better remembered. Also, when we tested people's memory performance 24 hours later, people still remembered faces better that were seen during a high curiosity state than faces that were seen when they weren't curious. This suggests that curiosity puts the brain in a state that is generally conducive to learning any information. So you could think of curiosity as a vortex that draws in what you're motivated to learn and interested to learn, but it also sucks in a lot of other things around it. So why does curiosity benefit learning any information? The most apparent implications of our findings are, of course, for education. Think again of the vortex that curiosity creates. If you study a specific subject, like the child here who studies the flower, the curiosity vortex not only helps you to learn the information that you're interested about, but it also helps you to learn a lot of other information around it. So when teachers have to convey material that is not of general interest to students, learning could potentially be accelerated if a teacher harnesses the power of a student's curiosity about something that they're naturally motivated to learn. Hopefully, our research inspires more teachers to stimulate curiosity ahead of learning, something many passionate educators have been doing already. Our brain just works better on curiosity. Our findings may apply to any kind of context in which you need to convey information to a person. If you spark a person's curiosity first, this person actually wants to receive the information and is then more likely to retain the information and potentially anything else you want to say to them. Trees that have square trunks grow in the Andes Valley in Panama. If you are really curious about this question throughout this talk, you are now more likely to remember that those trees grow in the Andes Valley in Panama, but hopefully you are also now more likely to remember other information better from this talk.